They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Loan you that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Tonight on Rogueways, we rogue warriors get the pleasure of connecting with a like-minded slayer of beast ideology and traps, a fearless purveyor of finely crafted analysis, a shredder of the cult-like nonsense that pervades the mass mind at this moment, and a simply prolific creator who has spent the last year and a half at least unmasking and rewilding the soul of the nation instead of the people of the nation, and giving it to the Soros-funded agenda through everything he does. He's known as XCubed420. XCubed, how are you doing tonight? And welcome to Rogueways.
I'm doing well, and that intro was fabulous.
Thank you.
I mean, my God. That was a beast of an intro. I'm like, wow. Whew, okay, we're serious. I got you.
Gotta pump you up so you get really into the show, you know, and then you'll come back next time. So
yeah, I mean, I was ready. I mean, I almost went and got my sword and my gun and everything. I was just.
I love it. Well, before we jump in tonight, I do want to remind everyone that one day of brightness is exactly 1 week away. Next Sunday, we will be celebrating the autumnal solstice together. This is the 4th in our journey. We started in December at the solstice, the solstice. Of 2020, and now we're all the way to the fall equinox. So it's going to be awesome to make that full circle circuit. And of course, it is virtual, it is recorded, it is all day. You can pop in and out as you need to, but being there live is the best. We will have guided meditation, manifestation for your future, soul messages from your guides and spiritual allies, learning to work with your personal spiritual cosmology, energy, sound, vibrational healing work with Catherine O'Shea, Michael Wan, Chance Garden, and myself, and it is going to be awesome. So I think there's like 3 tickets left or something. If you're out there and you've been wanting one, you better grab it now. It's on rogueways.org. And also, I want to remind everyone that this coming Thursday, right after Middle Path, and every week after Middle Path on Thursdays, we do have our hangout sessions now. The Rogue Fam Hangout is fun. It's unstructured, unrecorded, unlive streamed. It's just us in a Zoom chat room hanging out. I think we had like 8 people, 10 people last week. It was super fun to be able to just talk about anything and everything. We laughed, we cried, we had cookies, and then we left. I may be lying about the cookies, but we can make that happen maybe. And it's just fun for us to get together and do that, especially if we've been feeling pent up and alone for the last year. So come hang out with us if you are a supporter on subscribestar.com/rogueways, on rogue.locals.com, or on here on Rockfin, where the party is at. Then you already have access. So any supporters there, that's how you can get the Zoom link when that's happening. And finally, back to you, XCubed. The pointless question of the episode that we always start with. I'm asking you this time, what's your favorite musical pleasure and why?
Okay. Now, when you say favorite musical pleasure, are we speaking about genre? Is that what we're speaking about?
I kind of intentionally leave it open-ended, so you could be like, well, I play this instrument, or I love this genre, or this new song is like my favorite, or wherever you want to take it. It's up to you.
Okay. Well, I would say I'm multidimensional as far as what I listen to. I'm all over the place. Like
Bigfoot.
Yes. Well, he's interdimensional.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. I don't know if he's in the multiverse yet. But I would say that, well, it depends. Okay. So here's what I got. To get me hyped, I'm heavy metal all day, as hard as it can get. Killswitch Engage, which they just said something about Vaxxed and whatever tour. I was like, dang, come on, Killswitch, don't let me down like that.
It's such a shame.
Killswitch Engage, yeah, I know. Trivium, Lamb of God, I mean, all that. So when I go to the gym and I'm looking to get a good workout in, I like to jam to that. The heavier the riff, the better. Actually, one of my favorite, they're not new, they've been around a while, but they changed their singer, Veil of Maya. They're more of gent metal, but I love their guitars. He's very creative. His riffs are all over the place, but they always come hard. Now, when my mood kind of shifts and I'm just every day, I can listen to anything: pop, R&B, old school rap, and every once in a while I do like to listen to classical piano. Now I know that just when I was, but I will only listen to it in the minor key. I don't want this. I don't want the happy stuff. I want the minor key. That I don't know. It's that deep emotional. It reminds me of times in movies and things of that nature when there's certain things and it sets the mood for that. So yeah, I'm all over the place. But if I got to get hype, it's heavy metal all day.
Dude, I'm like with you. I have this like broad variety of music, and I have this feeling that part of our audience, like, that's like our structure. All of us kind of share that. This is why we're critical thinkers and open-minded, because we don't restrict ourselves to like one thing or the other. It's like, yeah, I'll take whatever is good for whatever reason it might be good. I'm not going to pretend like there's nothing good. I used to say it though. I'd be like, I like everything except opera and country. And then I found country music that I liked. I was like, oh, okay, this sucks. But now I have to admit that I like country. And then the same thing happened with opera. And now I just have to say I like every genre.
Yeah, country. Here's what I'll say: they'll have some stuff that's catchy. Let's just say that, and whether I'll actually put it on on a player,
you don't want anyone to know.
Yeah, I'll know the song and like I'll repeat it, kind of like to make fun of it. But it's like, hold on, they did their job because I know the song, like I know it. So yeah, I understand what you're saying there. But yeah. I would probably say that I was mainly, because you usually are influenced by your surroundings. So my parents, they listen to pretty much R&B. So it would be old school R&B, Temptations, things of that nature. So I've got roots all the way back there. And then, when I was in middle school, high school, you've got 2000, 2004, the rap during that time. Bone Thugs, things of that nature, Jay-Z, all that. And then right when I was graduating from high school, going to college, one of my friends got me into metal, which the first band I started listening to were Deftones and Disturbed. So I just kind of rounded things out. And like you said, you can find things interesting in all of it. And the one thing that I always tell people, they're like, well, how can you listen to that, like heavy metal, that music? You can't understand what they're saying. I was like, well, most of the time, if you actually listen to songs and try to sing along with them, you're not saying what they're actually saying anyway, because the way they space out their syllables, it sounds weird to the ear. So you just try to make up what you think it says. But I'm like, but if you go and you actually look at the lyrics of a metal song while they're performing, you hear every word they're saying. If you look at the lyrics, you're like, dang, why didn't I hear that? I mean, they're speaking clearly, but I just think their depth of what they're talking about in a whole lot of the metal songs is kind of another reason why I like it.
Well, that's actually what got me into, I don't know if you would call it metal, but metal-ish sort of things was the lyrics. Someone convinced me, because I used to only listen to oldies, which at the time was like 50s and 60s. I don't know what it is now. It's probably like 80s. But that's all I would listen to up until I was like 11 or 12. And then someone finally, it was my sister, was like, here, look at these lyrics and read them. And I was so depressed, and they were so depressing, that I was like, this is amazing. And then I started liking metal and other things. So she broke my cherry, so to speak, and got me out of that bubble. But it is true, before the internet especially, you'd be like singing something, people would be like, what song even is that? And you're like, it's this song. Like, that is not what it says. And so many songs that I've sang my whole life have been completely wrong, and then I found out via the internet that I was wrong. But someone in the chat, Lindsay, is saying that your accent sounds like her hometown in eastern Kentucky. Is that where you're from? Or where did you grow up? What was your little young life like?
Oh, no, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I am North Carolina all the way. I would be more mid-south, so you'd be in your Charlotte area, Raleigh, Charlotte area of North Carolina. So my accent, I'm going to be honest with you, is simply derived from the fact that I pretty much hung around white people my whole life. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it to a T. I was in the smart classes, So in my particular area, I was like the only black kid in there. Now, the reason I was in those classes is because my mom would beat my ass if I did not do good in school. That was just all there was to it. And she was the cafeteria manager at the middle school, so it didn't
So she
matter.
knew everything.
Elementary, middle, high school, they all knew her. And so, yeah, I couldn't get away with anything. So it's like, well, I got to do good. I had no other choice. So she kind of pushed me to that. And that's a good thing. You want your kids to do good. Well, if you have kids, I'm not having any myself, but
Neither.
but if you have kids, you want your kids to do good, try to excel. That's what most parents want out of their kids. And I always kind of sit there and think, I was like, are they disappointed in me? I'm because of the way you kind of have expectations. Everybody does. So you don't want to disappoint your parents, but then at the same time, you kind of gotta blaze your own path at the same time. So that's kind of one of those things. Everybody has a battle that they have to go through, regardless. I know they always say, well, the LGBTQ community, they got these battles. No, everybody's got a battle they got to go through at some point in time, because you're not going to live up to the expectations of everyone. So, and you got to be able to come to grips with that and find peace within that as well. So, and that goes for both sides.
I love that point, and I try to make it, and it's hard because people will say things to me like, and before we hear your response to this, I'm also going to cut off YouTube and Facebook. So if anybody out there is listening, just be prepared. The link is right below you. Come over to Rockfin where you will get to see the entire show. It's just that YouTube loves to cancel me, and I don't want to put up with their shit anymore. So we're not going to talk about real shit on YouTube. We're going to only talk about real shit on Rockfin. But I'll set the question up for you by saying I have a friend, and her daughter is, mixed. She had a black father and a white mother. Her mother's white. And her mother said to me, well, you have no idea what it's like to be the recipient of racism. And I was like, well, arguably I might, because of my own like Native American white thing going on that nobody wants to hear about. So, but I can accept that nobody wants white-ish looking people to be able to experience racism. So I could put that aside and say, yeah, you're right. I don't know what it's like to have people be racist to me because of the color of my skin being darker, right? So I can agree with that. And she's like, and so my daughter experiences this racism, and people will call her names and whatever, and here and there, and you don't know what it's like when she comes home crying. And I was like, well, I don't. But I also do know that 100% of children experience people picking on them for things they can't control about themselves. And so I don't know for sure, and I don't know how we would even measure whether or not it's worse for her or not. I think everybody experiences that. And before I get your response to that, I'm going to remind people we are leaving YouTube and Facebook now because they're full of censors who want to cancel me and my show. And I love you all, and so I hope you hop over to rockfin.com/rogueways and catch the rest of this and every other episode of Rogueways at Rockfin. So ta-ta for now. The link is below you. Oh, I almost turned off